Now, to prove that you also are going to reign with Christ, look at this chapter again. Verse 18 of the 7th chapter of Daniel. What does that say? But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom for 1,000 years. No, it doesn't say for 1,000 years. How long? Forever. And in case you doubted that, it added, even forever and ever. So you see, the saints of the Most High are going to reign forever, even forever and ever. And look at verse 27 of the same chapter. The greatness of the kingdom and under the whole heaven, we read here, shall be given to whom? The people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is how long? An everlasting kingdom. So in verses 13 and 14, when we read of Christ's kingdom being an everlasting kingdom, and you read in verses 18 and 27 of the saints possessing the same everlasting kingdom, we just have to recognize that Christ and all the resurrected saints will reign on this earth at the second coming of Christ on to all eternity. And there's where you come in. If you have any part at all in it, you'll help Christ administer the affairs not only of this little planet, but of all the planets and of all the universes that are in existence. For Romans 8:17 tells us that we become heirs of God and joint heirs with Jesus Christ. That literally means that we will help God administer the affairs of the universe. Did you know that original man had dominion over even the sun, the moon, and the stars? And if man had not fallen, there would have been interplanetary service before now. Man would have gone to these different planets, and they would have ruled all these things for God. Some of you look at me as if that's a fantastic idea. But it isn't. That's not an imagination of mine. That's in the 8th Psalm. It says, what is man that thou art mindful of him, or the son of man that thou visitest him? Thou hast made him a little lower than the angels, and did set him over the work of thy fingers. Then it mentions sun, moon, stars, yea, all sheep, oxen, everything. Over the work of thy fingers, the sun, the moon, the stars. Resurrected man is going to rule forever and dominate all coming generations of natural peoples in all eternity. Now, to prove there will be natural peoples forever, look at verses 13 and 14 again. All peoples, all languages shall do what? Serve him. In Daniel 2, you remember when we studied 2:44 and 45? We read, in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. It shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. But it says, this kingdom shall not be left to other peoples. That means the same people that enter the kingdom will continue in the kingdom in all eternity. In Matthew 25, verse 31, we read, when the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. Before him shall be gathered all nations. He shall separate them as a shepherd divideth the sheep from the goats. He'll say to the sheep, come ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. And he'll say to the goats on his left hand, depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. Then he gives the reason in both cases. The last verse of that chapter says, these shall go into everlasting life, proving that the peoples that will be alive on earth when Christ comes will continue to live on this earth after he comes in all eternity, providing they do not commit a sin during the first 1,000 years, which will cause them to become executed. Now, a person can commit sin during that period. There isn't any question about that. Men will be free moral agents over there just as now. The devil, of course, will be bound. He will be put into the bottomless pit for the first 1,000 years. And men will not have any tempter, but they will still have their own nature. They will still have their own choice power. After all, the devil's not responsible for everything that every man does on the earth. James 1:13 plainly tells us that let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted, and he could have had there, couldn't, and he isn't tempted every time by the devil either. Well, he explains now, when a man is tempted, he's drawn away of his own lusts and enticed. And when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin. When sin is finished, it bringeth forth death. Do not err, my beloved brethren. So, since the devil is bound, during that period, people think that there can be no disobedience. There can be no sin. But in the 20th verse of the 65th chapter of Isaiah, we read of sinners and death and all that, continuing right on. We read, there shall be no more thence an infant of days, not an old man that hath not filled his days. A child shall die. There's death. Child shall die 100 years. But a sinner, S-I-N-N-E-R, sinner, being 100 years old, shall be accursed. They shall build houses and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards, eat the fruit of them as the days of a tree of the days of my people. Mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor or bring forth for trouble, for they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord, and their children or offspring with them. See, children will be born right along. Their offspring with them. In fact, Isaiah 11 tells us that a child shall play on the hole of an asp, and a weaned child shall put his hand in the cockatrice's den, and they shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, saith the Lord. So the idea of this earth coming to an end and humankind on the earth ceasing to exist, that's one of the greatest errors of modern Christians. There never was anything like that in the Bible, and never will be, unless somebody changes the Bible. They leave it like it is, though, that the people that go from this period will go right on in the next period, and right on in the next period, and in all the ceaseless ages of eternity. Natural life will be perpetual on this planet Earth. That's what God told Noah when he showed him a rainbow back here. You see this, he said? That's a token of a covenant between me and you and all flesh, or he said, even every living creature that is with you for perpetual generation. So you see in verse 14, all kindreds and all tongues and all peoples and all nations shall serve him how long? Until they're all killed off or all die off? No, forever. Who are we going to reign over? Certainly not over ourselves. We do that too much now. We're going to have somebody to reign over. Who are we going to reign over? The peoples that will be here when we come back to the earth to seize the governments of this world. Those will be the subjects of the kingdom. We'll reign over them forever.